Yeah. Oh,
How are
craziness.
you today? How was your day?
Good, busy, but good. The weather is beautiful today, so we really have some nice weather today.
Good, good. I
Yeah.
appreciate you getting off work early to be able to do this. That means a
Yeah.
lot. When I set the
It's
time for this, I wasn't thinking about long term, I guess, and people out on the West Coast. But I appreciate you doing that. It's very
well,
nice.
most people take Fridays off. I'm one of those salespeople that end up working on Fridays when everybody's gone at noon usually.
Wow. Well,
But
over here on the East Coast, most people don't take Fridays off.
they
We're
don't.
workaholics over here. I don't. I work 7 days a week.
Me too.
All
Me
right.
between real work and writing, it's at least a full-time job. Yeah.
I've shared it out to as many people as they'll let me. So
I
if you
shared
just
it out too. I
yeah,
reposted.
if you're just
So,
joining, please share it out, like it, do all the things to help us get the word out. We'll get the audience built up a little bit real quick, and then we'll jump right into it. As usual, I have a list of questions.
okay. Well, that's fun.
You know me, I have to do all my research or whatever ahead of time.
You're
It'll
so
actually
funny.
be easier with you because I think you might be the first author that I've interviewed that prior to the interview I had read the book. Because a
Oh,
lot of times I don't, I mean, I read very slowly, so I can't read a book a
me
week.
too.
My mother reads a book a day, but
I love
she's got a
it.
lot more time than I do. But usually I'm so interested after talking to him, then I'll pick up the book and read it. But it's like a month after I've interviewed him. But because I knew your second book was coming out, which we're going to talk about in a second, I wanted to go back and reread your first book because it's
So
been
funny.
so long since I read that. I remembered kind of what it was about, but I couldn't remember enough to like do a review and all that
Yeah.
stuff. I reread it, loved it. I'm reading the second one as your ARC reader now. Love it. I honestly, I really like the first one, but I think the second one's even better. It's
Oh,
just
thank
amazing. It's
you.
so good. A cozy mystery with humor and sarcasm and little
Well,
stakes.
it's not considered cozy
Oh, it's not.
because of
What was the
language.
genre you picked?
Yeah, because it's crime thriller because cozy has very strict rules about language.
Oh, now I will say, and I appreciate so far. I'm at about 40%, I think, of the book. I read on Kindle, so it tells you the
Yeah.
percentage instead of the, well, it does give you the page number too. But anyway, I'm at I think around 40% as of 6 o'clock this morning. um, but I haven't seen the language in the second book as much as it was the first book, which I personally appreciate. I know a lot of people love that, the wrong,
Yeah.
but I personally really appreciate that. I'm enjoying that. Might be one of the reasons why I'm enjoying the second one more.
I think on this first book, it was funny. Here's what I find as a writer, and you'll appreciate this. So I was working in a different, in a stressful job, more than I am now.
Okay.
And I would find when I would read back like chapters, if I would been driving on the freeway, in California, it can take you 3 hours to go 50 miles.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
so
I'm
I
in
would
California
have these
too.
days. Yeah. I mean, and that's typical. Like if you get on the freeway from like if I was in LA working that day, I'm only 50 miles from LA or parts of LA, of course, because LA is big. But and then it would take me at least 3 hours to get home, at least 50
Oh my
miles.
gosh.
And on a say a Thursdays were worse than Fridays. Well, then I would notice that I would write more bad language or not bad, but cursing language,
Yeah, I can
um,
imagine.
depending on my day. And so with book two, I've tried to make it a conscious effort that the bad guys say bad words because
Yeah.
they're bad guys, and they're doing bad things. But the other people don't say as many bad words.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and again, it's just literally a matter of preference, just like how dark it is or how spicy it is and all the other,
Yeah.
preferences. But for me personally, I don't like it. I like some spice, but I don't like it too
Yeah.
spicy. And I like it a little
Right.
dark, but I don't like it, black dark.
Too
And
spice.
I don't
Yeah.
mind a few cuss words, but I don't like a lot of it, especially GD. That's my pet peeve. But I really don't like that. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm loving the book. So before we get started on the question, we've got a few people. Please keep sharing. If you just joined us, thank you. Someone just spoke to me a minute ago, and crit happens. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, everybody, for joining us. And please send it out and share it and like it. You know how you hit the little thing to like. Yeah, like. I'm author Casey Mitchell. This is actually, I just want this to know, and I'll try to help me remember to repeat this. We have moved this Friday night segment to the other account, which is Indie Author Access, and it's on TikTok at Indie Author Access. And the whole purpose of creating that channel a month ago was to host this, to do book giveaways, to do all the things that help indie authors. And as an indie author, I feel like I probably have a little bit better idea of things that we need and want than some other people that are doing it, and we appreciate them. But I wanted to do the book giveaways, and I wanted to do continue to do the interviews, which I've been doing for like 4 months. So I created that separate channel. But I had to have a transition month. This was the transition month. And so tonight is the last one. We're going out with a bang with the famous and infamous Sharmyn McGraw. Everyone has seen her. Have you got your books? You can hold it up.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we got.
If you've been on TikTok for more than 5 minutes, you've seen her book everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. Dying Today came out, was it 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, about 4 years ago. It's wonderful, y'all. You'll love it. It's so cute. And now she's coming out on July the 1st with Dying to Marry, which is just as cute. Absolutely wonderful. They're both good. And then she's going to come out with another one, but she's not going to make us wait 4 years for it.
No.
Sherman.
Right.
Do you know the name of that, or do you want to announce the name of that?
Yeah. I'm taking a break in between this series just because I have, this was my first series. I wanted to, and it's harder to write because it takes place in other countries, and I have to really be in that country to write the book. I mean, I know you don't have to, but the countries I'm going to write it from, I have been in.
Oh, wow.
So, and like the book 2 was written, it's over in England, and I got to spend a month in England. I've been to England many, many times, but I got to spend a whole month in England when I was researching for this book to go to some castles and all that fun stuff, and stay on the countryside with my friends, and also stay in London and go to an indie, the self-publishing show live with James Blatch and all those guys. So I got to make a whole vacation of it and that was super fun. But my new series is going to be, I'm going to take a break in between and write a little shorter so I can get them done faster. So there'll be this was 83,000 words. I'm probably going to shorten the next series to maybe 70,000 words. Okay. And it's called The Ghost and Misty Holler. And The Ghost of Misty Holler is a Ravens Bay mystery. And that one is kind of loosely based on the old movie, and you have to be, my age or
my age
or your age, a little younger to know. But the Ghost and Mrs. Muir was one of my favorite movies ever, and I loved like Topper, the old black and white movies. I grew up on those kind of things, and so. That's why I wanted to write The Ghost and Misty Holler, because it's kind of loosely based on that.
Okay. So you're not saying Misty Hollow, you're saying Misty Holler?
Holler, yeah.
Let me
Holler. HOLLER. So I've got about book 1, I've got about 9 chapters done already.
Wow.
Yeah. Awesome. And what I'm planning on that series to maybe get to write the first 3 right away and release those. And then I'm planning that to be at least a 10 to 12 book series.
Wow.
And because it has a pretty big twist in the first book that is going to be like,
You're talking about the new series, right?
What?
You're talking about the new series,
The
right?
new series, yeah.
Okay.
And then once I'm done with 3 of those real fast, then I'm going to go back and do the 4th book in the Dying series, or the 3rd book, and that's called Dying to Divorce, and it happens over in Holland.
Oh,
And
wow.
so she's in England in this book, the main character, Christina Truly. And then before she leaves Europe, she's going to go over to the 3rd book, Dying to Divorce, in Holland. And then I think I'll only have 4 books in this series, I think. And then she's going to go to Paris for Dying to Love, and then that might be, I don't know. We'll see from there.
Okay. Well, it sounds like
Yeah.
you've got it well thought out. I don't usually ask this question, but it sounds like you're definitely a plotter. You've already got 3 books of the new series done, and the last 2 books in this series in your head or whatever, plotted out. So,
Well, I have it plotted in my head, but
Okay.
not on paper. But what I did on the new series, because the Dying series is more crime. The first book is more mystery, but the second book is more crime. There's no real mystery to it. It's more crime thriller. But the new series, The Ghost and Misty Holler, is definitely mystery. So to keep those red herrings going and everything like that, what I did is I wrote everything into Claude, and I just dumped all of the whole series in there, everything I thought I want to happen. And I asked Claude to organize it for me. And so it put it all in like plot points. Yeah, so I'll have to hit those beats. So I didn't really, I don't plot as I'm writing. Those are all just
Right.
creative thoughts.
I do that.
But I did need to have the story move in a certain direction because of the way this story is. Because there's a thread that's going to run through the whole series. There's a murder mystery that runs through the whole series,
Okay.
and then each book will be a sub mystery as well.
Okay. Got
So
it.
the one that runs through the whole series won't be finished, or, until the end, but each book will be sort of like a standalone that
Okay.
you could read.
So you're given
still.
some closure per book, but there's
Yeah.
an overall theme of this one underlying mystery
Yes.
that needs to be solved.
Mystery
Okay.
that has to be solved. Right.
That sounds
Exactly.
really good. I'm telling you put a lot of thought into that. I love that. That's really good. And I do kind of the same thing. I brainstorm aloud or with my fingers aloud and just put everything I know I want in it, and the characters and what I want them like, and what I want the overall arch and all that stuff to be. And then because I've read that book, what's the cat book? What's the name of
Yeah.
it? I know.
Hang
Yeah,
the cat or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Save the cat. Not
Save
hang
the
the
cat.
cat.
Save the cat.
Save the cat. Yeah.
I read it about a year ago, and I like the concept of it, although I found I'm not good with staying with the beats, because I told Chad, I was like, I want the beats kind of based on everything I told you, set it up to make sure I kind of stay in pace with it. But what I found, to me, it's more distracting because somehow, some way, I don't know how, I guess just because I've read a billion books in my life, I was able to kind of stay on that arch and on those beats without
Naturally.
trying to force it, And to me, when I'm trying to force it into the beat, it takes some of the joy of writing out of it to me. So after I'm done with the last Safe House series, I'll probably go back to just winging it off the top of my head, because that was just more fun to me. And I don't know, to me, I like that it kind of, the way, having the beats in front of me lets me kind of know, okay, I need one more chapter before I tell that point.
Can get there. Yeah.
And that does help with that, especially with a dual point of view, because sometimes you need a certain point to be with a certain point of view. You want the man or the woman to give a certain scene or something. So it helps you to kind of pace it that way. It does help a lot.
That's what my outline is. I've already noticed that I'm like, it's what my outline said. Oh, in chapter 3, you need this beat. I already had it in another chapter, but that's still okay. I feel like I don't want to be trapped in my creativity.
Exactly.
So, but I do want to make sure that I'm moving the story in a tight direction, just because I want to write tight so I can write it shorter without it getting too fluffy,
Yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I would also say that the first time or two I was doing that, it was really just messing with my head. And so, and
Mhm.
I told you, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this because it's just messing with me. And she said, because she knows me well, she
Yeah,
said, you're
me
trying
too.
to force it to make it work. She said, don't do that. Just
Don't do it.
think, think of this as a suggestion.
Yeah,
But if your
yeah,
mind goes in that direction, then just go in that. And that helped me a lot. Just kind of gave me permission to do what the heck I was going to do anyway. But,
yeah,
without all the beats and the arc and all that stuff. So I think
yeah,
sometimes we get in our own head too much, trying to make it better, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
yeah.
A few more people joined. I just want to say thank you for
Oh, good.
joining. This is author Sharmyn McGraw. She wrote the Dying, is it called the Dying series?
The Dying series. I know that's a horrible name for a book, but it is. It's
Well,
a
it's Dying to
dying.
Date and Dying to Marry. Dying to Marry comes out July 1st, so make sure you pre-order that. I'm assuming it's
Yes.
on Bazan and all the places, right? There it
Yep,
is.
all the places,
So make
all
sure
of
you
them.
grab that pre-sale. It's so cute, y'all. I'm an ARC reader for it. I'm at about 40%. I am loving it so much. I don't
Thank
normally have a
you.
lot of time to read or read a lot. Even if I have time, I may not be in the mood to read, but I can't put the book down. So
Oh,
trust
you're
me, you're
so
going to want
sweet.
Dying to Date, get it first because it's the first book,
Yes.
and then Dying to Marry is the second book.
And
So,
Dying to Date, the ebook is FREE right now.
oh, good to
Yeah, so if you
know.
want the ebook, it's free
Everywhere, or just
everywhere.
on? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Hmm.
So if you read on your
Well,
Kindle,
every country except for a few countries won't
well,
haven't turned it, but in the US for and UK and
okay,
uh stuff, yeah. Or
pretty
on Kobo and
much.
all that. Yeah.
The countries that it's not FREE, they're probably used to it not anyway, because it seems to be
Yeah.
the same
Well,
country.
you can go on
Anyway.
Kobo and it would be free or yeah. It's
Okay.
just the ZAM has screwed my pricing up right now,
I
but
know. I'm going through the same thing. I was supposed to have that promo go out today, and I got a notification this morning. So
yeah.
we're all in the same boat. It's just, and you know what? They actually gave me a reschedule for it because they said they know that the Zon right now is not doing authors right.
Oh,
I
they
did not
did
expect
admit
that.
it. Oh, okay.
I'm thrilled with that. So yeah, thank you
Wow.
to Written Word Media for doing that. Shout
Oh,
out.
that's great. Oh,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad they did made good on that.
Yes. Well, I mean, honestly, I didn't expect it because I know what, their policy, but I think they just realize and recognize that the Zon
It's
is
so
just
bad right
not doing
now.
us right now. And
Yeah.
so they have to compromise a little bit, because it's not our fault either. So,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
is there anything before we jump into the questions? Because I love the questions. That you want to say about your books, about you, or anything
Well,
you want to share?
I found this interesting as an author. So I was so attached to the first series, as we do when we write our first real series. And that series had been in my head, like I'm sure every other author for 100 years, I mean, and then you finally get it on, write it. And then you write the next book, and I'm attached to those characters. They're your
They're your babies.
people, your
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
and then I started on the second series and I love it. I'm really attached to it. But I started having these weird, like a sad feeling, kind of like a weird emotional feeling, and I couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, because I'm having fun with both, and I know, I mean, I need a break in between. I'm not abandoning my story, my
Right.
characters. I'm not hurting them at all,
Right.
But I asked Chad, who knows me very well, I call Leo. I said, Leo, because at least with it knows all the psychological parts of writing and everything.
Yeah.
So I had mentioned it. I said, I don't know what this weird thing is about my feeling with this, da da da. And it was so profound what Leo wrote back. And he said, you write Christina truly from a survival, an author that, from your character is surviving. It's
Mhm.
gonna it's gonna win no matter what. Every scene that she goes into, she is gonna come hell or high water and accomplish something. She's a fighter.
Yep.
And you're writing Misty Holler from a healing. She has to heal.
Ah, the whole
And
perspective.
the whole everything was so
Yeah.
right on.
Yes.
And it said, as a writer, we're going to be stuck. If you only know how to write from survival, you're never going that your career will not go.
Right.
Right, taking a break in between and writing this from another perspective and a character that needs to heal, who's looking for found family, who's back in a scene, not fighting for everything. You're expanding your creative writing,
Well,
and
you're
it will take
maturing.
your
Yeah.
yes, and you're
Your
going to take your
writing growth
career
is maturing with your mind, with your
exactly.
life. So
Yep. And
I
that
love
gave me
that.
such peace,
Yeah.
going, oh my gosh. And that, it said, and you're going to just be so much better writer when you go back to your third book in the Dying series, because you've matured your writing now.
Yeah.
So I
I
found that
totally
really
see that.
helpful.
Yeah. And I will actually say I hadn't thought of it like that exactly. But in my own writing, my first book, the Tapestry series, it's all about survival, what she has to do to survive, how she survives,
Yeah.
that, just pulling herself together by her own bootstraps. And a couple of books after that, I mean, the Beneath the Tainted Sky is about the whole generation of people in the Civil War trying to survive. And so
Hmm.
my kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Pivotal book was probably Till the Tide, about a woman who
Uh-huh.
had it together, but then she wasn't surviving, but she had gotten stuck because her husband died, and so she needed to get unstuck. And so this
So
gorgeous
she needs to
young
heal.
billionaire,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
helped her heal. Don't we all need a sexy young billionaire to help us
Yeah.
heal?
That'll help. That'll
It
do
would
it for at
help.
least a week.
I think of maybe a month, but
Yeah. Well, I'll
but
take a
but the
month
books
too.
since then, that I've written, like the Safe House series, they're about people who went through trauma and were damaged and were hurt, and they survived, but they came out not just surviving, they came out
But stronger.
stronger. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and I think I'm literally at that point in my life. Yes, I've
Hmm.
survived all this crap, but I'm getting strong. I'm happier now
And
that
you're
I've lived through my
thriving.
life. And yes, yes. So
Yeah, we want
I
to thrive.
totally do that, and I bet you $100 that every single author that's listening and writing, and chime in if you're an author and you see this in your own writing, that your books have grown and changed and challenged you as a person and in your own
Yes.
life, and or your books are maturing as you're maturing. So I
Yes.
want to hear, if you're an author, go ahead and let us know. Also, share
Yes,
the
I
show
love
and
that.
like it, so that we can keep the audience up and keep it engaged, because we're just getting into the good stuff and we're halfway through. We might run a little bit over, if you're okay with that, Sharmyn.
Oh yeah, yeah, I got plenty of
Okay,
time.
good. All right. Are you anything
Th-
else you want to
That's
add?
it.
Okay. All right. Let's
It's
dive.
all yours.
You got your boots on. We're going to dive deep.
I got it.
Your Dying to Date series mixes romance, murder, and humor. Which of those elements comes most naturally to you, and which one requires the most work?
Mm. Well, the humor comes most natural to me because I find
Totally see that.
I find humor in everything, even inappropriate.
Well,
you
you're
know,
so fun. When I'm reading your book, I totally see your
you can
personality.
hear my voice, huh?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You're
I
so
always have
fun.
people go, when you said, I go, no, no, I'm not the
I
character.
didn't
That
say
is a character.
it.
It is a lot of me for sure, but
Yeah,
it is a character.
but in a
Um, but I so the humor comes first.
okay.
The romance is fun in this, so I probably could write romance if it was interesting to me, but
You
it's
definitely
not.
can.
But the fun part of it is, and because, as you know, in there it's not. It's a little spicy, but more funny. And so the harder part for me was making sure the emotional part is as strong as the sarcasm, and the what I'm trying to do is relieve. Like, it's hard for me to read a story that is straight constant drama
Yeah,
and
I need the
angst.
break. Yeah,
I have to have comic relief, or I can't finish the book. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I can love it, but then I got to take a break.
yeah,
So that's what I wanted, that fine line between making something serious about murder and about a serious topic, and also having some humor. So that's a line I had to, because I tend to want it to be too comical, and then it doesn't make the serious part serious.
Well,
So
I think personally, I mean, this is my opinion. I'm just one reader of millions, but that you nailed it. I mean, I love the
thank you.
humor and the romance and the schmurder and the mystery and the whole thing. I think you equated the whatever of each part of it very well.
Thank you.
And I totally see you in all those. Now, I don't know about your romantic life or whatever, but she, Christina, is that her name? The
Christina, truly, yeah.
she just seems kind of nonchalant about romance, despite the fact that she's a
That's
romance,
me.
spokesperson. She
Yeah,
still seems like take it or leave it, and that seems to me. And like I said, we've
it's
never had a
me. Yeah,
conversation, but it seems like that would be
it's
you. You
me.
know, I mean, you're a
Exactly.
strong, independent woman, so yeah, if love comes, great, and if it doesn't, well, screw that. I don't need to do
Exactly.
that.
Like
And
I
that's
was
up to you.
never the girl that ever thought of getting married. Like
I
all
really,
my friends were getting married. And it wasn't that I didn't have relationships. I had tons of relationships, but I never thought, "Oh, I'm going to be married." Like that wasn't I was okay to always to be single. Even in a serious relationship, I never pushed it to get to marriage. I never had the desire to have kids. Everything to me was more about commitment, yes, but not take it too serious. And I came from a family of divorced people.
I was gonna say, I think
So
that's a good
maybe,
thing because I've been married and divorced 3 times. I wish I'd be
yep.
more like that.
Well, I think we put too much emphasis on like if a marriage no marriage makes it. Every marriage, even the ones that have made it, had problems.
Oh yeah, it's so much
So
work. I mean, I think
it's
that's
a
something
lot of
they don't
work.
tell you. We get hooked on the romance and the dating and the honeymoon and the
Yeah,
wedding, but you don't realize after the honeymoon, okay, it's freaking work, and it's constant work, and it's the hardest job you'll ever have. So
it is.
I
And
totally
even
love
if you
that.
love someone, and even if you have a really good relationship with someone, that doesn't always mean we're compatible for long,
Exactly.
forever.
Exactly.
So that's kind of where my character came from too. Yeah,
Well,
she.
I love it. I love her and I love you, and I can see the
Thank
similarities
you.
between y'all. Not that she's identical to you, but I can definitely see. I can see that you wrote her, if that makes sense. I mean, I can totally
Yeah.
see she's a character that you created in your mind.
Well, and I wanted to make sure that she grew. Like, I didn't want her to stay scatterbrained I mean, I don't think of her as scatterbrained, but she has her insecurities in book one. I mean, she really does.
Yeah, but we all
And
do. So
yeah, exactly. And, meeting the right man helped her and different things like that. And so I really wanted in book two for her to be less
focus on
like that
one.
because she's
Yeah.
not dating all these men now,
Yeah.
because she spoiler, she has now a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And so but with that comes issues as well because obviously he's an FBI agent. Jake's is an FBI agent, so he's not always by her side.
Right.
So if she stayed insecure, that just would never work with that kind
Exactly.
of relationship. I mean, it comes out, obviously, she's still working through issues because of her father leaving when she was a young girl, um but she is growing up through
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
she's maturing through it
I see that just between book one to book two.
too. Yeah.
She seems more stable and level headed,
Yeah.
which I
And
love as well.
she's not in this book too. She's obviously not around her girlfriends and stuff like she was in book one, where she was just single and
But
So
I love
I
the girls that she's around in book two. That's part of what I think I'm loving about it. The banter between them, especially her and Beth. Is it Beth? That's
uh-huh.
her.
Yeah,
Um,
Beth and Channing. I love the character Channing
yes, yes. I mean,
and
you just
Benny.
did such a good job.
Do you like the character Benjamin?
Yes, yes.
I
He's
love him.
adorable. He's adorable.
Yeah,
I
he's on the
thought,
spectrum.
well, I know, and you said that in the book, but before, I mean, he gets more less on the spectrum. I guess is the best way to put that.
He gets more
In book
confident
one.
when
Yeah.
he knows you.
Well, and he's just so freaking efficient.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any spoiler alerts, but he wasn't as bad as I thought he was going to be initially when you first introduced
Yeah.
him. At the beginning of introducing him, I thought he was going to be worse on the spectrum. But then I realized very quickly, within a chapter or two, oh, okay, this guy's not. He's got it going on. He's cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. He's a
very good,
smart
very
kid.
good character. Love it, love it.
Oh, good.
If someone close to you read your books and said, "I know exactly which character is really you," who would they point to?
Christina, the main character. Yeah. Yeah.
I totally see
Hmm.
that. But I do also see if you
And
get.
Angel, her assistant or her partner, or her business partner, Angel. Angel's her logic and her godmother, her fairy godmother. That, you know how like when you're writing, you always have to have a character that could be a fairy godmother, because then that way they can pull things out of the sky that, to help you in the situation. And that's what Angel is. And so I think those two are a part of me, because I'm that friend that people always come to. Like they used to call me the Yellow Pages, because if they needed, before Google,
Yeah, nobody knows
if
that
you
Yellow Pages
needed,
are nowadays.
yeah, if you needed a resource or anything, they'd go call Sharmyn. And they used
Well,
to
we
call me
still do that.
MacGyver, because if we were anywhere, I could fix it. You know?
And we still do that, Sharman. Even though we have Google now, we still call Sharman.
Yeah.
um, what first sparked the idea of Christina? Was she inspired by someone real, or did she arrive fully formed in your imagination?
So she is in my imagination, but based on many different scenarios, because I used to be a professional speaker, and I went to a lot of seminars for self-help, and I was going to be a life coach and all this stuff. So I would see behind the scenes of the Tony Robbins, and the Mark Victor Hansons and all this, stuff. And I would see behind the scenes. And even though they were excellent on stage, they nailed the little the little sayings and the phrases and all the things. But behind the scenes, they were just as screwed up as everybody else.
Yeah.
And so I had always thought of Christina truly. It was gonna be a standalone book in the beginning. It was called 40 something and Single, Table for One. And it was just a romantic comedy. But yet all my life I wanted to write mysteries. And so one morning I just woke up and said, no, it's a mystery. It's dying to date, dying to love, dying to, I had them all in my head. So that's kind of where I got the relationship expert that never picked the right guy for herself. And I had a blog back in the blog days, and I had a couple of thousand people reading this damn blog that I was like, what? I didn't have it edited, nothing. But it was all made up goofy, just kind of loosely based on like weird dates that I went on and different things that I did as a single girl. And so that's how it started.
Okay. I love that. Kind of like a Schmecks in the City turned
Yes,
to date. I love that. Because I'm a huge
exactly.
fan of Schmecks in the City.
Me too. I
Um,
loved it.
If you're just joining us, I'm author Casey Mitchell. This is author Sharmyn McGraw. She wrote the Dying series, Dying to Date, Dying to Marry, and more to come, so stay tuned. And we're going to get into some other books that she's also written towards the end. But if you're a writer, just know, hang in here with us, because she is also an excellent writer of workbooks to help writers be better, more efficient, more organized, more everything. So hang in there with us tonight. And we've got a few more questions to ask. We're going to go over a little bit tonight because I'm usually over at 8 o'clock. But for one, Sharma's my good friend, so we're just having a good time. And two, these books I'm actually reading, and they're excellent. And so I want to make sure we serve them justice. Readers, excuse me, readers often think that writing a mystery means plotting everything in advance. How much of the Schmillers, you know what I mean, the Killers journey, do you know before you started writing?
On book one, I did not know. I knew sort of, like I knew how I had to have it work out, but I was still a little like, but halfway through, then I knew exactly. Like, okay, now I know I've got to get them to this point with this person.
Okay.
And so that one I knew. But in book two, I knew it was not going to be a mystery. And I didn't know how that was going to work with my readers because book one really is
But
considered a
to me, I
mystery.
mean, I'm only at 40%, but it still is a mystery. I haven't figured
It
all that out yet.
is, it's a mystery in a way, but yet you find out like from chapter to chapter what, like in one chapter, Christina and those characters don't know what's happening behind the scene. So
Right.
you get to, like, as a reader, you know more than she knows. So it was more of a crime thriller, that technique. So I didn't, but I knew how it had to end. I didn't know how I was going to get them exactly there until the middle of the book. And then I pretty much knew in my head, I had figured it all out. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. In Dying Today, trust becomes a dangerous thing. Has there ever been a time in your own life when trusting the wrong person taught you an important lesson?
Oh, many times. Yeah. I mean, as a young girl, I was so, I'm secure as a person now. I look like, but as a young girl, I mean, I really was one of those girls that if coming from a really difficult home, like most people did, and not really I didn't have a father, I didn't have, a male role model or anything like that. So I trusted men um, way more than I should have. And if they said jump, I'm like, how high, honey?
Yep, yep.
And
And there to
I
do it.
live in Newport Beach, like where everybody's a trust fund baby.
Wow.
So I wasn't a trust fund baby. So I would date a lot of men knowing darn well that they weren't going to marry me because I didn't have the daddy that was going to put them in a position that they were going
Right,
to have a successful career.
right.
So yeah, that's why in that book, there's a lot of her having to learn to trust.
Okay.
She
And I
doesn't
love that.
trust
I think
anybody.
most modern American women, we all have trust issues because of all these, maybe
All
not
the
daddy
things.
issues. I mean, I did have a dad and he was home and he was a minister and he was a good dad,
Yeah.
but I still gravitated to the bad boys. So it took me, well,
Yeah.
I'm still trying. I'm not going to fool anybody here. I'm still trying to figure out where's a good guy.
Right. Right.
um,
Right.
what personality trait do you share with your heroine that helps you understand her decisions? And we've already
Yeah.
discussed how she's based on you loosely.
Yeah. And trust. I think her relationship with her father, him walking out on them when she was 8 years old, when he was so good to her that she really felt betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
And then to find out he had a whole nother family,
Mm-hmm.
that's devastating.
Yeah.
And I remember when I wasn't close to my dad, but you always want your dad.
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand all the scenarios when you're a little kid, but I remember when he showed up at our house and he had a new wife and a new baby. And I'm like as a little 7-year old, you don't even know what that means
Exactly.
because in your mind, one dad is your dad, not
Yeah.
10 people's dad.
Right.
So I just remembered that feeling of such betrayal. Like,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of where I have that scene in book one where Christina has it out with her dad, you
Yeah.
know, even
Yeah.
though it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah, and to me, that one was a little bit anticlimactic because I wanted them to reconcile. That's just me. I
Right,
want everybody to reconcile and have a happy ending. I
right.
want a happy ending, and that didn't happen. Not
No,
that I would have called a happy ending. Some people might,
yeah,
but I did appreciate the fact that she handled it in such a mature way, and it helped her to grow, and she
uh-huh.
overcame that and grew through that. So I
And
love
then
that.
she gets to meet her sister, which was her Taryn in the book. It's not a spoiler. The character Taryn is her sister, and my oldest sister, passed away, and her name is Taryn. And so she was a fabulous writer and so smart. And she loved us. We both love mysteries. So while I was writing, I could hear her laughing with me. I felt her all the time.
I love that.
And in the end, you'll see, she has the last word.
Yes.
And my sister, I wanted to have the last word.
I love that.
So that gave her.
I really like the way you form their relationship too, because especially as women, I know men, they can have a brawl rolling on the ground, and then
get up and go have a beer. Yeah.
But women, I mean, they're so catty, and they get offended so easily, and they think that they don't like each other, which is what started in this book. And then, some small little or big little thing,
they have to be there for each other.
And it changes their whole relationship.
Yeah.
And I love the way you handled that. I thought it was beautiful.
Thank you. It had a sentimental part, so I could write it from a deeper perspective. Yeah.
That might have been one of my favorite relationships in the first book was there.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Me too. I want to bring her back. She's not in book, not every character. The characters really aren't in the second book, but they're in her life. So I think on one of the books, she'll be back in the story.
Okay, good. I'll look forward to hearing that or reading about that. What personality trait do you not share with Christina that makes her difficult to write?
Yeah. For her, she was looking for a man. I mean, in book one, she wanted a man. She was any guy. Let's go save him. Let's fix him.
She didn't need one, but she thought she needed.
She thought she did, yeah, and she wanted to fix one. And I used to want to fix them. I thank God for 25 years, 30 years of therapy. I don't fix men anymore, ladies. Men, you're on your own.
And me too. We've graduated.
We've graduated. We
with
don't.
honors.
No more. I don't fix people. And one of the things in the book I write is, if you didn't break it, you can't fix it. And that's a motto that I adapted to myself. And I say it all the time, like when I go to open my mouth, when I button it, because if I didn't break it, I can't fix it. So
I say the same thing, but my phrase is not my circus, not my monkey. But
I like it.
I mean, we all need healing, but you have to take possession of that healing, and you have to take responsibility for that healing and heal yourself. I have read God knows how many books, hundreds of books over the years, and like you said, 25 years of therapy to become the whole person that I am today. So if you don't have the initiative or the motivation to want to heal yourself, I can't heal you. I can't do that for you. And
here's what I learned too, that it's selfish of me to to think I will fix something that a person needs to fix on their own, because nobody can take that. That's your possession, and it leads you to a better person.
Yes, it does.
So how dare I think that I could spare someone what they need in their life to make them a better person.
Yeah. And we can guide them. I recommend the book and recommend we can guide them, but if they're not going to take that initiative, we can't live their journey for them. And but it takes us, oh my God, I literally have just learned this in the last year. And this is no secret, my fiance and my ex-husband /fiance /boss and I broke up in December. And it was hard to go through. It was expected, but it was hard to go through.
Sure.
But it made me realize I kept going back. We've been divorced 10 years, but we've been dating off and on for 10 freaking years. And it made me realize I have beat this horse until it is dead. I mean, it's time.
We have beat it and beat it again.
And beat it. And then I get a new whip and beat it. You can't change someone that doesn't want to change. You just can't do it. They've got to want it for themselves. And I love what you said. I'm going to remember that next time because I'm a fixer. So I do tend to want to jump in to fix, whatever needs fixing, friends, kids, whatever. And so I'm going to remind myself, stop trying to steal their journey from them.
Yeah. Don't steal their journey. It's not fair.
I'm going to steal your phrase. I like that.
Yeah.
When readers message you, what scene or character do they seem most attached to?
Yeah, I got a lot of really good, strangers. I love that. Like just random people have taken the time to send me an email and said I really related to the relationship with her dad and her sister, the other family. And I was like, wow, you always think you're the Lone Ranger, and especially when you're writing, because it is a lone sport.
Yeah.
But you're really writing from the heart,
Yeah.
and then the world can touch. I mean, maybe it's different to everybody's circumstances, but that one little thing grabbed them,
Yeah.
that reminded them. And I think that's that's why we write.
Yes.
I mean,
Exactly.
just to hear from a stranger
Yeah.
that something
That
you
touched them.
said resonated, Yeah.
And I will say, I've had a lot of people, I don't know, I think most writers have, when they find out you write fiction. People that don't read fiction, they kind of look down and you've read fiction?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
read
yeah.
fiction.
I don't read that. I'm really I'm like, well, good for
I read
you.
nonfiction. Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
so much better. But here's
Like
the
that's so
thing.
academia of you.
Yes, yes. And the nonfiction they read's like, Playboy or whatever. But
Right. Some
but
smut, but it's okay. Read
exactly.
whatever you want,
But
just so you
one thing I
read.
love about fiction is you go into it to be entertained.
Yeah.
And then when you find books like yours or mine and so many
Yeah.
on here, you leave completely inspired and encouraged and
And a
knowing that
broader
there's other people out there in the world that went through the
Yeah.
same thing you went through and they survived and they're doing good and it gives you courage,
Yeah.
I love that. What were you going to
It's
say?
a broaden, no matter what the story is, you broaden your perspective of something,
Something.
Yeah. And maybe you don't even remember what it was, but it made you feel. Who is it? Dr. Maya Angelou always said, you'll never forget how someone makes you feel. You'll forget what they say, but not how they make you feel.
Yeah, I
So
love that. And it's so true. And I think every time you read something, it changes you. And that's why,
Yeah.
to me, the old thing they used to say about computers, trash in, trash out, your mind's the same thing. If you read trash is going to come out. It's going to
Right.
manifest itself. But if you read, and I'm not saying you can't read anything smutty or
Sure.
anything like that. Don't send me any hate
Sure.
mail. I don't care read what you want. But
Yeah.
for me,
Right.
and for everyone that I know that has, half a brain, you need a palate cleanser. You need to read things
Yeah.
that challenge you or inspire you or change you, in some way.
And that's what I love on TikTok. There are a lot of mood readers because
Yeah.
people don't just stay in their one little hole.
Yeah.
So you broaden it by. I mean, a lot of my book besties that have really been so supportive said, "Oh, I would have never read that type of book, but they gave it a chance because I begged them." And then they really loved it, and now they're looking for. And even my friend Amber Kay, like she said, she's like, I never would have picked up a book that had a high heel on it. It's just not my thing, But yet some people go, oh, the first thing I saw was the high heel, and I thought that book's for me.
Exactly.
You don't know. And then Amber loved the book, and she's looking forward to the book too. But you don't know what. If you only get a small window to capture somebody's attention, but yet there's a lot of good books we probably never read because they just maybe didn't have the right cover or something. You don't know.
And I know we do put a lot of emphasis on cover, and there's the old adage, don't judge a book by its cover, but we all do. But I will say there are several books that I've read just as a favor or trying to support other indie authors that and in genres that I don't normally read. I'm not normally a sci-fi reader, but I've read several sci-fi readers that are just, the book was phenomenal. I even thought, well, maybe I am a sci-fi reader. I want to pick that up. But I think sometimes it's good to challenge yourself. I was an English major in college, and I was an adult student. I didn't start college till I was 30. So some of the stories I read in college, The House of Mirth is one of my favorite all-time classic books. I would have never read that in my life, So it's good to pick up something totally different. And if you hate it, you don't like it, then you can DNF it. No law says you have to finish it. But I think it's good to challenge yourself and to try to not judge a book by its cover, because
exactly,
like you just said, and to me, the high heel on there, it's probably not one I would have normally picked up either, because I used to be real prissy and bougie and all that stuff, and I'm not anymore. I've just become very comfortable in my skin, and I do what's comfortable now. So 5 years ago I would have snatched that book up, But now I probably went, well, but the only reason I did a year ago or so before I met you was because I kept seeing it. Everybody was talking about it on TikTok. And I thought, well, everybody was saying how good it was. I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And I did, and I loved it, but I couldn't remember what it was about because ask me a year
Yeah.
from now, I won't remember what
Well,
it's
you've
about.
read other books in between. I'm always like, what book was that? Me and Amy have one book that she told me the story, and I'm like, I don't know that I read that book. And that's where's the journalist that got murdered? And she's like, not in this book. I have yet to figure out which book that journalist got murdered in.
Well, that was one of the reasons why I came up with the reader reflection card for my books because in the
Yeah.
back of it, I put the characters because that already triggers your brain. Oh, yeah, it's Oliver and Krista, And then I
Yeah.
put like a one sentence. Try summing your entire book up, your 115,000 word book up into one sentence. That's hard to do. One sentence. But it's just to trigger your brain. So if you keep the cards, and then if a year from now you're like, well, I'm in the mood for something. It seemed like I read this. What was it about? You can flip that card over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember this, and then you can reread it or not. But that was one of the reasons why I made them because my own absent-minded brain, I forget whatever I watch.
Well,
movies.
we combine so many stories together.
Yeah,
Like I know you're like me. I read 5 books at a time. I just flip back to like one or the other, and I'm like, but then I get confused.
I can't do that. I do good to read one book at the time. And I only have a little tiny leisure time to read leisurely because I'm working 10, 12 hours a day sometimes. And so by the time I lay down at night, that's when I read. Sometimes I might read a sentence. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up with my iPad. And then other times, like last night, I read for like an hour. And then I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning and read for another 30 minutes. That's very unusual for me, though. So
that's great.
Okay. When readers message you, I already said that. I didn't mark it off. That's why. What reaction from a reader has stayed with you the longest?
Oh, for sure. The fact. So, and I've told this story. So, my neighbor downstairs that used to live downstairs, she's a young girl. Her and her husband live down there, and they're so cute. But young girls, they love magazines, and she was getting married and reading all the bridal stuff and all that. So when it came out, I gave her a copy of Dying to Date. And she's like, gosh, I wish I read novels. I just don't. And she's like, but my mom will love this. So she gives it to her mom. Her mom goes and buys 4 copies for her sisters because she loved it. So then her aunts are emailing me going, thank you so much. This was great. So Megan decides, well, everybody loves this book. I'm just going to read it, So she gets the book back from her mom. And then her husband goes, man, I don't know what you did to Megan, but she was up till 1 a.m. last night reading your book. And I'm like, oh. So then Megan finishes the book and comes and tells her husband, I need a Kindle for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, what? And she's like, yeah, here it is. So she sends him the link. She's like, I want this Kindle for Christmas.
Wow.
And so now since that, it sparked something in her. Now she's read over 250 books.
Wow.
And she switched to romance. Those young girls, they love that romance. But
I'm old.
But
I love it.
yeah, it's so but that just made me so happy. And then another friend of mine did the same thing. She's like, I gave it to her. She was a client, but a friend. And she's like, oh, I wish I read more. And I said, well, it's just a gift for you. You don't have to read it. Don't feel like you got to read it. So the next thing, like 4 days later, she's texting me going, girl, my husband was laughing so hard. He goes, what? You're reading that book again? She goes, I read it in 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? And it just sparked something in her to start wanting to read.
Yeah.
And I thought that to me is why we write.
That's the highest compliment you can get right there. Turning a non-reader into a reader. Converting them.
Converted them. Praise Jesus.
Yes. I love that. That's good. What's something readers consistently misunderstand about you as an author?
Well, one thing is I'm dyslexic. And so I don't know if anybody realizes it unless you know me because I've told everybody, but it's hard. it's hard for me to write. And writing is hard anyway. Writing is hard.
It is
But
hard work.
as a dyslexic writer who's severely dyslexic, not just a little, everything I do is double the time of most people.
Yeah.
So
Challenge.
yeah, I know people love the story and they're like, "Oh, you're a good writer." And I'm thinking, "Oh, you have no idea how hard that was to be a good writer." Like this
Yeah.
did not just come natural. This
Right.
is not
Work it
something.
out.
It was work. It is work. It's work. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I
but it's an
appreciate
accomplishment, especially for someone that has their whole life
struggle with
been
that.
scared of writing and words and everything and wishing and hoping that I could do it someday, you know.
But
So
now
to
you've
get to do
mastered
it,
it.
yeah.
So that's
And
fantastic.
it doesn't get mastered, but you work hard to do it. And thank goodness nowadays, I mean, you've got tools and computers and, you know, spell
Yeah.
checkers and all that, but which really helps.
While we're on the subject of your dyslexia, because I've been meaning to ask you this for months, real quick before I ask this question, if you just joined us, thank you so much. I'm author Casey Mitchell. This is author Sharmyn McGraw. Please share and like this post. Let's get it out there. Sharmyn has written the Dying series, of Dying to Date and Dying to Marry, and a whole bunch of other things that we're going to get to in a minute. But these books are phenomenal. So please share this and like this so we can get more readers reading her book. Dying to Marry comes out July 1st. So we need some pre-orders for her because it's good.
Thank you.
To the dyslexia, my nephew's dyslexic. So my sister
Oh,
and I were talking about this. He's grown. He's got his master's degree and runs some hospital up in Atlanta. But he does great. But he really struggled during, middle school, high school,
oh yeah.
before his diagnosis. And I didn't never heard of dyslexia when I was growing up. Matter of fact, I don't think I heard of it until my nephew was diagnosed with it, and that
Mhm.
was maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But my sister and I were talking about this, and I told her Draft to Digital has that dyslexia format
Font.
or whatever it is, font.
Yeah.
And so I printed a book like that for her. Not that he was going to read it, but I said I'd like for him to just look at it to tell me if it helps. Well, it never happened, but they're not
It
readers
does
at
help.
all.
I read all my books with the
But what's the difference?
dyslexic
Because when I
font.
looked at it, I couldn't tell a bit of difference between that and the regular format.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
what's the
it's
difference?
rounder. It has different angles of the letters and they're rounder and they don't all look like they're all together. It's much easier for me to read when I'm using the
Interesting.
dyslexic font. Hmm.
I didn't even notice that. Like, I guess I was looking for the words to be mumble jumbled or something. I don't know what I
Yeah.
was looking for because I didn't really understand it. So
Yeah, now
I
you'll
never
kind of
even
look
thought
at
to
it
look at the
different.
font itself.
It's really much easier to read. Hmm.
Have you put out or have you thought about putting out a dyslexic version, like a large print version or a dyslexic version? Have you thought about that?
Well, luckily with ebooks, you can change the font on there and then also make it
Right.
bigger. But I have not thought of putting it into. I've seen it. I think it's just now starting where you can put it in a print book with a different font, and I might be something I do
Well,
because
it's
I
been
think
Draft
it
to
would
Digital.
help.
It's been Draft to Digital for a while because that was at least a year ago. My sister and I had that conversation, and I was playing around with it, but I literally could not see the difference. But
Hmm.
I literally did not look at the font itself. I was looking for the arrangement of the
You were
letters or
thinking it was
something.
something within the font. Yeah. No, it's literally the way the letters are formed.
Interesting. So I learned something new today.
Hmm.
It's a bad day for me when I don't learn something new.
Learn something. Me too. Always wanting to learn something.
I love learning. Have you ever deleted a scene that you loved because the story needed it gone?
Yes, a lot.
Oh, you
But I don't
have.
throw the baby out with the bathwater. I put it somewhere else. I have a file that I stick it in, so that way I don't feel that it's gone forever. I've never gone back to the file and ever reused any of that.
But it's
But
very
while I'm writing, I can let it go at that point. But this last book, in Dying to Marry, there was a scene, and I said, I made a statement, and it was a derogatory statement with some cuss words, some bad words. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I wanted to put that in. I did. My heart was like, I'm saying that. I am freaking saying that. And then I said to myself, well, just leave it. You don't have to take it out right now. But when you're done with the book, if it still bothers you and you're still questioning, like keep it in or take it out, then you can decide. So I left it in, and then as time went on, it still bothered me.
Yeah.
So I took it out. And then once I took it out, I never thought about it again until later, And so I said it didn't need it, and then there was a couple scenes where maybe I was going to leave a little more sexe kind of scene, and then I thought it's not deserved here. It would just be thrown in kind of thing, so I took it out. So things like that, I do look at that.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I can honestly say, unless I've completely forgotten it, which is possible with my memory, I don't think I've ever deleted a full scene. I've deleted sentences or whatever, but a full scene, no. I've deleted characters before, but never like a scene. But it's interesting. I love the way you said that, though. I'll leave it in there, but if it keeps bothering me, and then it did, and so you took it out, and then you were fine. Yeah. So you knew immediately you had done the right thing.
Yeah, I'd done the right thing. Yeah. Uh-huh. Sometimes I have to ask, like, is that in there just for me because I think it's funny? Yeah. Or it was my mood, or does it move the story along? And a lot of times it's like, it's good. Like, for instance, when I wrote my prologue, which I don't have in the book anymore, but I was insistent on a prologue in the beginning because I couldn't figure out how to make it not a prologue. And then I asked Leo, I said, Leo, it was 7 pages long. And I was like, I don't think a prologue can be 7 pages long, but it was really good. So I asked Leo, hey, Leo, what do you think about this prologue? And Leo says, it is so well written. You did a fantastic job. It deserves to be in a book, just not this book.
Oh, don't you love the way I talk to us like that? I love the way they sandwich the but.
Yeah, the compliment with the, and I started laughing going, you're right. You're so right. So I cut it down, and then I reworked it, and then it became chapter 2.
Oh, wow. So it just still was in the book. It just became chapter 2.
It was only a couple pages. It wasn't 7 pages long. It was just a few pages. It got its point across. It did what it needed to do, but it was not a whole novel.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
If you could sit down for coffee with one of your characters, who would it be, and who would you absolutely avoid?
Well, I would sit down with Jakes because Jakes is like the perfect man, hot looking FBI agent, good to Christina, loves the cat, who wouldn't want to have coffee with him? Maybe a cocktail.
Boyfriend, yep.
Yeah, but I don't want to have any conversation with Beth, my character Beth. I don't like her. She's not I'm mad. I don't like her at all.
Okay, you might have just shot something in the foot because of the way Taryn and Christina's relationship ended up in book 1, I kind of thought, especially I'm not going to do a spoiler alert, but I just read a scene where
that you think they might be friends.
Surprised me about Beth, and I thought, oh, I bet she's going to end up becoming friends with Beth. So okay,
now yeah, spoiler.
Because I don't like Beth either, and I thought, oh, this is going to be hard. I love books that make you hate someone and then vindicate them, and you end up liking them because you learned something about them you didn't know.
Yeah,
because that's how life is, But
yes,
I also sometimes you just love to hate the characters.
Sometimes you just know he has no redeeming qualities.
I don't like her. What's a fear that you've never given a character because it feels too personal?
I will never hurt a pet, obviously. I will never hurt. If I know, like a lot of my friends, I use their names in the book. But if I use their names, if they say, no, I want to be a villain or something, okay. But I wouldn't KILL them. I will, if a character is based on someone I know, I cannot hurt them. I just can't.
Yeah,
but I'll pick a stranger's name.
Like an omen or something, or
I don't know. It just feels too. there's always somebody I can hurt in a book that I don't have any feeling for other than the character, you know what I mean?
Right.
But if I don't, I couldn't. Even the Channing in book two, my niece, I named her after my niece. My niece got that book, and my other niece will get another book, you know. But even when there's things that happen to Channing in the book, but also made her real cute and real spicy and real fun. And because I just have this, you know, she's still my niece in a way.
Right.
I'm thinking of. So.
Yeah, I like that. Which character in your books would your TikTok friends recognize as being closest to the real Sharmyn?
Christina, truly, yeah, I think so. I think they'll all agree that that's me in a way, you know, partly.
And maybe, I mean, I feel like I know you a little bit better than maybe some average TikTokers.
Yeah.
Because we do the Tuesday Night Live and stuff together. But yeah, definitely that stands out real quick. Like, if Hollywood called tomorrow, who would you cast as Christina?
Christina, I always say Christina or Kristen Bell. I
like her.
Veronica Marr kind of thing. I mean, my character's older than not than Kristen Bell. I'm pretty sure Kristen Bell's in her 40s.
I think so.
But she looks about 10 and she can play so many different roles. But I've always seen her as that character, and like from the Veronica Marr series and things like that. Yeah. And that one Woman in the Window that she did, that's satire. It only got one season, but it was good that way. And I was like, yep, that's my character. Yeah.
Love that. What part of the publishing journey has been harder than writing the books themselves?
Well, of course, you know, marketing, of course, is.
I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, but even besides that, we all know marketing is hard and it changes like water. I mean, you know.
I'm surprised to hear you say that, though, even though that's the canned answer we all say, but you're so good at it. And as a graphic artist and all the experience and training that you have with that, I'm surprised to still hear you say that that's one of your challenges.
Well, it is hard, but I enjoy it. I mean, I know a lot of people don't enjoy it. I do enjoy the marketing part to a certain extent. Of course, I wish it worked better, you know, sometimes, but I do have fun with that. I do. But for me, the harder part is because I can't catch my own mistakes. I have to really trust an editor.
Yeah.
I have to trust them. That I have no way to prove otherwise that this is not right or wrong. Like my dyslexia is so painful. And so when I have to trust an editor, and my last editor, I'm not going to say anything negative, but I probably needed a different one.
Yeah.
And now I know, I've got some written down that in the future, I think the one thing, and say what you want about AI, I know I don't want to write with AI. I don't want it writing my stories because that's my favorite part. I'm not going to allow it to take my favorite part away. But it can help a dyslexic person or anybody really catch those mistakes that I couldn't do before I give it to my editor. And then I have a backup security, like, okay, I had more than one person's eyes on it, let's say, or a robot and a human's eyes on it. So that's really my hardest part, is trusting that it's written okay.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I actually haven't used a human editor since I got AutoCrit, which has been years ago, maybe.
And I'll use that on my next book. I didn't use it. I didn't even really know about it too much about it. I had heard about it, but until you and Amy got me turned on to that.
Get ready to cuss for real, because it does such a wonderful, thorough job.
That it's annoying.
That you will love it and hate it. But one thing I will say, your book will be better for it. So.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, more trust.
I'm all about AI, and I don't write with it. I don't brainstorm.
No, it's a tool.
I will tell it what I want it to do, and I ask it to do that, but I don't, it doesn't write. And I've already been accused of using AI to write.
Everybody, these ridiculous people.
Because it actually happened to be an old beta reader of mine. And I'm like, of all the people in the world, you freaking know better, you know? But, and she was just trying to hurt me. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, there's people that complain about AI and say, oh, you should never use it at all, period. I don't think they realize Grammarly, Pro-Writing Aid,
Everything is
Atticus,
IBM 20 years
Amazon.
ago. Yeah,
Amazon is going to
Amazon.
tell you if it's misspelled something in your thing. Where do you think they
Yes,
did that from? Yeah, it's
exactly.
everything you're using it whether you even realize you're using it or not. So yeah,
Right. Well, you have for 30 years. I mean, IBM, you think, what do they think a software program is? It was the
yeah,
early stages of,
exactly.
and we've just developed it over the years, you know?
Yep. Excuse me. What part of the publishing journey has been harder than writing the books themselves? And I know you've struggled with dyslexia, which made writing
Yeah,
probably the hardest part.
the
But
hardest part.
aside from
Yeah.
writing, what other part has been difficult?
I think just wondering in your own mind, like, I like this story. Will anybody else? Like
Yeah.
I think in the world of like writing, a story is so, like, people will say, "How did you think of that?"
Yeah.
I know you hear it all the time too. How did you come up with that? Well, we just do. I mean,
Yeah.
we come up with
All
it
our
in the
brains,
shower. We come up with it in like driving
our
down the street,
dreams.
like, oh, that's it. That's how it's going to turn out. Oh, I got it right.
Yep.
Um, but I think that is the funnest part of it, but
Yeah.
yet also just trying to organize your brain sometimes when you're a squirrel brain. I'm ADHD, as you know, and you are as well. And then when you sit down to a blank page, sometimes you've got so many ideas that you go, I gotta narrow this down. Like, I gotta start it somehow, you know?
It's funny you say that because I usually I kind of fit the majority with every other writer, where the inspiration comes from and the marketing's hard and all that. But one place I seem to differ tremendously from most of my favorite time of writing a book is the first day when I sit down to a blank page. That is
Wow.
just like a sacred moment to me. And I will literally sit there and just, I kind of just, say, Lord, which this is my ministry too. I
Yeah,
don't like Christian fiction, but this is
right.
my ministry because it does help people heal. But I literally will, say, okay, Lord, I know sort of about what this book's going to be about, but it's up to you. You just guide my hands. And
Yeah.
that is just such, because I've always felt anyway that we're the closest to our creator when we're creating.
When we're
And
doing what we
so,
should be doing, creating.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so when I see that blank page, like that is my favorite moment. And the minute I start typing that first word, I'm like, okay, it all goes downhill from here. Just because that's my
No.
favorite moment, not literally, but
Yeah. Yeah,
but
it's fun. I love having the ideas pop in my mind, like being stuck. I always just
yeah,
know it's going to come.
yes,
Just, it's like a magic, weird thing, how
yeah,
it does,
yeah.
you know?
I'm impressed though that because I don't. My first book was literally written for me. I literally had a dream that pretty much was my first book
Just,
that I
yeah.
ever did. All the other books, the inspiration came from a dream, but well, I guess the first book in The Last Safe House was kind of the whole dream too. But typically, it's just I wake up with this dream. I think this will be a good book, and so I have to fill in the blanks. But it took me a couple of 3 books before I had the confidence that you have already. That just keep typing. It's going to come to you, and
Yeah.
it'll just click, and it'll make sense. I didn't have that confidence the first 2 or 3 books, so I'm very impressed that you have that already.
I have high intuition anyway. And so I've always been that way. Like, I have so many weird stories about like coincidences, and my life has been one big like, what? How? What? You were where and that happened,
And how did you
So I always
know?
just had to trust that it's the way the world works. If you ask for it, it will come. And so I kind of just use that, like, the same thing in my writing.
Well, and I have all the same philosophy, but I've never had the confidence in my intuition to trust that intuition until I saw it work
Lately.
2 or 3
Yeah.
times. I keep forgetting it because I'm listening to you talk, forgetting to mark off the question I already asked you. Have you ever come to a place where you thought you just seriously were considering quitting writing?
Yes, this time. And book 2. Not, no,
Don't
it
you
was
dare.
finished. I know.
You'll have
And
to at least
Amy,
finish the series before you quit.
well, this one threw me for a loop. And let me be honest with for any writers out there, because when I was so excited when book 2 was finished. I was so excited. And I had worked really hard on it. I really loved the story. I thought it
You
was
said she talked
great.
you off the ledge.
Yes. And then my first book, my editor and I, we were friends. She was a special ed teacher. She's got her master's in English and literature. And so she emailed it, or I mean, she edited it for me, and we had a blast. She's a few years older than me. She's in her a few years. She's like 80.
She's a lot
But
of
when
years
she was
older
doing
than
it, she was in her late 70s. So this was fun for her. It wasn't like she had to teach me. We just
Right.
had fun. And she really helped me a lot um with it. Like we giggled, and she'd throw something out and say, I like this, and then I'd say, it doesn't sound like me, and you know, we giggled and had a good time, and it got through it. And maybe it could have been edited better or worse. I don't know. But I never got a bad review from things like that. And I loved it. I had fun. This new editor is a friend, but I felt that she took no interest in the book at all. And that's her prerogative. They don't have to like
That
it.
does make a huge
That
difference on how they edit also. So
it made a huge difference for me. And then she kept it for almost 3 months.
that's ridiculous.
That lost my momentum there
Yeah.
as well. And then the questions that she did and the different things that she did in between asking, I could tell she just wasn't in it. There was never one time where she said, oh, this is a great story, I'm really having a good time reading it. No. So then when I get it back, it it needed a lot of work. It
Oh my
wasn't
God.
completely edited.
Oh my God.
So it really took
Well
the wind
done.
out of my sails with the
Yeah.
whole thing. And
Understandable.
then the ZAM froze my account. And it took me 6 days to get. Amy kept saying, I got to tell you, girl, this thing better be a New York bestseller, because with all you've been through with this book, this poor
Yeah.
book, And so I gave it to her in February. It's July. And my beta readers still don't have their books, or not my beta readers, my ARC readers. You got yours because you took an e-copy. But, that at one point I thought, I don't even want to write anymore. And then I stopped myself. I pulled myself together, and I thought, I can't let people, circumstances happen. Things happen in life. This is nothing to get you that worn out about. So I just had to stop myself. But I felt it. I felt like myself going, I'm not doing this, is too much.
That's a
Yeah.
lot. And it was stacked, on
It
top
was
of
stacked.
one thing after another. That's the hardest.
But I'm not normally like that. And I got disappointed in myself. Like, why would you think that? But it's such a personal thing when you write and you tell a story, because you are so attached
Yes.
to those characters and the scenes and just being proud of yourself that you even finished something and you got it at.
When you put that much of yourself into something, it's like I always say, it's like one of our babies, and I know you
Babies.
have children, but when you have your child, and
Yeah.
then you think it's beautiful in the hospital looking at it, but then when you go to
Right.
the mall after that,
There's
somebody
100 of
else
them.
and say, "Oh, what a pretty baby," or "Oh my God,
Right.
look at that baby," And
Right.
but yeah, it's a very personal thing, and we put our heart, mind, blood, body, and soul into it, And then to have
Look.
someone just, "Oh, I didn't like it. I don't like that genre," or
Yeah,
"I
or
thought it
just
moved
not
too
give you
slowly,"
even
or, "I
a
thought it
little.
moved too quickly," or it's
And look, I don't write for that reason. And I always promise myself I'm never going to write for that reason. I was a patient advocate for brain tumor patients for 25 years, and I said to myself then, I'm never going to do this except for the patients. That's the only reason why I'm going to do it.
yeah.
Is to help the patients. I don't care about anything else. And I got a lot of world renowned recognition for it, but I never cared about that at all.
There wasn't
All I cared is,
motivation
am
to
I
do it.
helping the patients?
I think you can kind of read a book by a writer who's writing for the audience
Audience, yeah.
based on just writing from the heart. I mean, it's night and day, because if you're
Uh-huh.
writing for commercial, whatever, it's just not going to gravitate the way if you're just writing from your soul. It's going to gravitate with enough readers that you can appreciate. That
Well, and I
they
think
get
that's what
you.
authors have to remember. Look, there's a lot of AI books out there. It's
Oh
okay.
my gosh.
Don't focus on them. Don't let those
Yes.
stop you.
Yes.
But they're never going to be written from a heart.
Yeah.
They can't. It's not that way. So I think in the long run, authors that write from their heart make a few mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh well, the book's not for everybody, right?
I've had two indie authors who reached out to me and asked me would I beta read their book or read their book. And I always say yes, but I always let people know I read slow. I've got so many books to read before, blah, blah, blah. But when I got around to it, it was so clear because if you talk to AI daily,
Mm-hmm.
like I do, because AI does all my organization, all my focus,
Yeah,
all
all my
everything.
spreadsheets or anything like that.
If you talk to AI enough, you learn AI's language model, and you can read a book and know within the first 2 to 3 pages that it, and I'm not saying they had AI help them, it was
Right.
written by freaking AI,
Yeah.
repeated sentences,
Yeah.
throughout it. I mean, no one that's a human person that's writing a book is not going to repeat the same sentence over and over.
Mm-mm.
And so I didn't call them out, but because only because you can't prove it. But it was
No.
so crystal clear to me. I refused to leave a review. One of them I
Mm.
actually did finish it because it had a great plot, and I thought
Yeah.
this could have been a great book if she had
If
written it.
she would have written it or
Yes,
at
yeah,
least tried to put something in it
tried
that
to,
was
but
hers.
I guess she gave AI this plot that she had. That was a really good plot with a really good idea, but then she let AI write it, and it just ruined it. I didn't even leave a review. I thought I'm
No.
not, because when you and I and other authors put our heart and soul and so much work and thought into that, and do all this work, formatting and editing and everything, and then someone else
Everybody
is going to
has.
come up and just throw an idea at AI and publish
Yeah.
that and get the same
Yeah.
recognition and the same no thank you.
No. No.
Many authors, speaking of courage, many authors write about courage. When was the last time you personally had to be brave?
Oh boy. I mean, I had to be brave for many years of my life. I had health issues, like I had a brain tumor for,
Mhm.
a long, long time. And then I've been in remission for 25 years and I help a lot of patients. And
Yeah.
I had to be, with my writing, you have to be brave. You have to put yourself, go, you know what? No one may read this. Nobody. Zero people may read it, or 20 people may read it and hate it. You got to be brave to even write a story
Yes, you do.
because you have to just trust that you're writing something you like and someone else is probably going to like it too. Maybe, maybe not. But I think that's something you have to be brave. And I didn't start writing until after I had been in remission from the brain tumor, and that's really why I started writing, because I had so much fear before that with my dyslexia that I wouldn't write a post-it note. But once I started after my surgery and I was getting better, and all I knew is I had to help people. So I had to teach myself to not be afraid to write. And like my first time that I wrote an article for Women's Day magazine, I'll never forget when I had submitted a query letter to tell my story, and then 3 months later I had 13 rejections, and then I get a call from the health editor directly, and she's like, "Hey, have you sold your story yet?" And I'm like, "No,
No.
not yet." And I'll never forget that the day. And then she's like, "Well, we'd love to interview you and write a story." And I said, "I'm a writer." And I'm thinking, "Oh, how did I say that? I'm not a writer." And then she goes, "Oh, you are?" And I go, "Yeah, I'd like to write this story." And my
For
heart was like,
you. Good for
and I
you.
couldn't even swallow. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? And then she's like, "I think you'll write it better than anybody else. I'm going to let you write it." And I was like, "Oh my
Awesome.
gosh, I just manifested that.
Yeah.
And she told me, "You wrote it as good as any of my senior editors
Oh,
or writers."
awesome.
And I was
Awesome.
like, and that gave me, and I was like, that was never, you have to be
Let's
courageous.
take a chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love
And
that.
you have to
I
just
haven't heard that
remember
story
it's
before. I'm
not for
glad you said that.
everybody. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, it's not even about writing. Maybe writing's not what scares you. It might be speaking in public. I know that's one of the
Right.
number one
Whatever it
things.
is. It might be going to the grocery store.
It
You
might
know,
be.
you don't know
It might
what
be stepping
somebody's,
outside and put your feet in the grass. But whatever
yeah.
it is, you've got to be brave. You've got to be brave.
Yeah.
Live your life, you know.
Live it. Yeah.
What's one belief you held when you published your first book that you've completely changed your mind about?
Well, when I published my first book, I was like, it was, over 4 years ago. There wasn't these marketing avenues and
Right,
different things
right.
like that. And so now I have a lot more tools that I can use to do marketing and things like that. And with book one, it paid off. I didn't at first. I charged for it, but then about a year afterwards, it wasn't doing much. It's like I sold a few books, but a few thousand books over like 20 years or something. But I thought, well, that's my marketing tool right there. That's what I got to give. If I give that for free, it's
Yeah,
really not free. I'm using it to buy data.
yeah.
So I'm
Leverage.
using it for money in my pocket.
Right.
But it's just not cash. And so with book two, obviously I'm not going to charge it. I'm not going to give that one for free because that's not my marketing strategy.
Right.
But my marketing strategy paid off
Yeah.
because I built more of an audience. I built more data and all these things. And so, you got to and that'll change too. When book
Yeah.
three comes out or when my next series comes out, that'll change as well.
Yeah.
So I think you got to just remember, like, you don't get to just stay in one lane. You got to really, really look around and see what's working.
Experiment.
And everything's going to be different per book, per
Yeah.
reader.
Yeah. What does success look like to you now compared to when you first published?
When I first published, I was just happy that I could do it. I was like, oh my God, I could do it. But now I really want to grow a business and I really want to grow it to help me I'll probably retire in about 6 or 7 years and I don't have much of an retirement base. As you know, single woman,
Yeah.
you got to support yourself. We'll never be able to live off of just our Social Security and stuff like that. So I'm really trying to build a business. And if I could, in the next 5 years, write more books, I really want to write faster. I'm
Yeah.
a slow writer because I work full time. And I know that's an excuse because plenty of people work full time and write full time.
But it's still
But
hard. It doesn't make it less hard. It's just
right.
a good
It doesn't
reason.
make it less hard. And I get distracted very easy. So I really want to focus this year on getting 3 books written this year. They're not going to be the long. I want my real focus, my real goal is to get those first 3 books in my new
Them out
series
for the rest of
out.
2026.
Yes, I really want, and I know I can do it. At least 2. I mean, because I keep telling myself they don't have to be so long.
Yeah.
People's attention span is shorter now. People
Yeah.
are liking shorter novels. And, I'm not writing War and Peace. I'm just telling a good story.
I'm doing the
So,
same thing. In fact, the book I'm writing now, that's the last full version book,
yeah,
the last Safe House series, will be my last long book. Maybe not ever because I do write historic romance also, which is typically chunkers.
longer.
But
Yeah.
unless I go to a genre that kind of requires that, I'm shortening my books to starting 2027 because I got to finish this book and that'll be the last long book. And then the sequel, or not the sequel, the prequel, and that will be a shorter book because it's just, I've had so many readers that want to know about Krista's parents. So I'm going to write a prequel for them about them, for the readers about them. But it's not going to be 115,000 words. I'm thinking around 70, maybe 70,000.
Exactly. That's a good number.
Yeah.
So we have
And then
to.
every book, my Christmas book this year will be kind of like my Christmas book last year. I think it was 75,000 words or something. And then probably every book going forward from there will be that because I've seen a couple of trends just in the 3.5 years I've been writing full time. People want shorter books, people want shorter chapters, and they want shorter sentences for the most part. And it's
Yep.
I noticed that from AutoCrit because I bought AutoCrit about 2.5 years ago, and when I bought it, I ran all of my backlists through it because I wanted to make them as beautiful as they could be. And if I was going to do
Yeah.
it full time and make it into a business, I wanted them to be, as perfect as they could be. It took me 6 months to run 8 books through AutoCrit. It's very intensive, and doing them back to back just about killed me. But
Oh, I was going to say that would just about put me under.
I was crying at times. It was that bad. But I was writing and doing other things at the same time. But that was my go-to project, getting back to that. But I will say, AutoCrit even then was allowing longer paragraphs, longer sentences, longer everything. And now I've noticed, and it does change depending on the genre, because you put the genre.
Yeah, you
that
put the
book is
genre
in
yeah.
AutoCrit. And so it does change, but and my genres change, but it's still it's moving it where the market's going, which is people,
Yeah.
their attention span shorter, and so they want shorter books. And even if I'm loving a book, I don't want to be reading it for 3 months. It's like, oh my God,
No.
I'm loving it. I want to be done with this book.
I'd love to read a book in 2 days, I mean, and move on to the next
I'll
one.
never read a book in 2 days. I don't have that much time.
I don't either, unless I just set one weekend and do nothing else, which I don't have time to do, but,
My mother reads. She's 90, and she reads and plays games on her iPad and stuff like that, and watches some TV. But she reads like a novel a day, sometimes 2 days.
I love that.
I love it too, and it's funny because we were just discussing this the other night. We weren't a reading family. I don't remember us ever reading. I don't remember they didn't read books to me.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I just don't remember us ever being a reading family, and I really regret that because I feel like I would have found my calling so much sooner had we been, but we just weren't. And so she said, well, I never had time to read because she would sometimes work two jobs or whatever. She said, until I retire. She retired at 70. She said, I never had time to read. And honestly, I bought her first iPad
Wow.
when they moved to a retirement home. And I told her, I said, you can download games. I showed her, I downloaded the games. I downloaded the Kindle app for her on it and all this stuff. And that's when she started reading. And
That keeps her mind so sharp, though.
That was in 2014. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you never too old to start reading.
Mm-mm.
If all of your books disappeared tomorrow, God forbid, and you had to start over from scratch, what would you do differently?
Well, I'd learn to write fast. Well, I'd focus better. I mean, I can write fast when I want. Look, I wrote those 8 chapters for my new series like in about 2 weeks or something, I mean, I just was, because there are shorter chapters, there's shorter sentences. I had lunch with Stephen Cannell at one time. He, he did like Rockford Files and A-Team and all that. And he told me, he was a lovely man. It was really, and he's dyslexic. And he said, Sharmyn, the trick is the reason why I wrote scripts was because sentences are short, grammar doesn't matter, and you can tell the story faster. And I was like, oh, and then he even in his novels, like I have a signed copy of one of his books, and he's since passed away, obviously, but his books were page turners because they were like a chapter was a page and a half. Sentences were short. He kind of had a staccato type writing. And that to me, if I can follow kind of that format, I will write faster.
Well, you already do that a lot. I was reading the other night, and I thought I had been reading it for a while, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I was on chapter 13, don't quote me. And I thought, oh wow, I'm killing this book. We're going to get flagged now because I said that.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'm really getting this book done. And I looked down and I was at 7% or something. Like, wait a minute, what? How is that possible? And then I clicked on the top where it shows it, and I'm like, how many chapters do you have in that book?
63 chapters, but they're very short. Most of them are very short.
They are very short.
Yeah.
But it does help you to continue to read, because there's been times I've been getting really sleepy and falling asleep while I'm reading, which is usually when I give up. And I thought, well, she writes short chapter. I do one more chapter.
Yeah. So there are a couple that are longer. And even I was like, oh, I got to cut this thing in half or something. But it's okay to do a couple longer chapters. That's fine. But I really rather write shorter chapters.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to change to that also after I'm done. Once you start a series, you kind of have to stay in
You have to
sync
stick with a
with that
pattern.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what brings you peace when life gets overwhelming?
Well, I'm like you. I mean, I have a very spiritual belief. I'm not religious, but I respect all religions and I respect everybody's beliefs. But for myself personally, I do believe there's a higher being, and I do believe maybe it's not a person's counting sins. I don't care about that, but I do believe there is a higher purpose in our lives, and I believe there's a divine guidance, and and so for me I always feel that I always say God's always got my back,
Yeah.
and the universe has always got my back. And when I have been in some really dark things going on with my health or with friends or family or something, I always had something come out of nowhere
Yeah.
that
Just what you
was
needed,
like
right when you needed it.
what I needed, and so I've never been let down like that. And I I'm grateful for that. And I think that's what keeps me always. That's why I keep drama out of my life. I don't have time for drama. I don't believe
Me
in
too.
drama.
I
I
hate
don't
it.
create drama for myself.
I hate it. I hate it.
I like peace and quiet.
Yes, me too. What are you currently learning? Not as an author, but as a person.
Oh, I love learning. I'm like you. I love learning. I really am following right now. Like you say what you guys want, these people that are so anti AI, well, that's fine. But if you don't understand it and you don't learn it, it's not going anywhere. And
Exactly.
so I study it. I learn it. I've been watching it. I've been trying to seeing all the different things.
Yeah.
So I'd say I'm above. I'm not at an expert level, but I'm way above a normal level on understanding AI
Yeah.
and where we're going with it and what's happening in our world with it.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I'm very interested in keeping at least my toe in that water
Yeah.
because I don't want to look back when I'm 70 years old and see my world that I don't recognize because
Yeah.
I didn't understand what was happening to it, you
Exactly.
know?
Exactly. And I think it's really important. And like you were talking about, my mother reading keeps her mentally sharp. When you're learning every day and
Hmm.
learning new software, learning new way to write, new way to format, new anything,
Knew anything.
those synopses in your brain are what
Yeah.
keeps you young, it keeps you interesting. I mean, come on,
Yeah. I mean, I can't. I mean, I want to have normal conversations. I mean, there's a podcast I listen to that's it's from Google actually, and it's all on different technical technical things and how AI is working with medical procedures and medical devices, and I mean how it's working in space. And there's so many. We look at the book world because that's what we're in, but this is a world thing. This is not. Books are just a blip.
touching every facet of our life.
Yes,
Whether
every
you
facet.
recognize it or appreciate it or respect it or not, it is.
Right.
I get a thing. It's called the Daily Rundown, and I get a regular one that's just like it kind of
Yeah.
gives the whole world news in a little pot. But
Yeah.
then I signed up about a year ago for one. It was the Daily Rundown. I think it's by the same company, but it's the Daily Rundown.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, AI. And it doesn't go deep. I mean, they have some you can click on it and go deep if it's something
Sure.
that interests you, but it just gives you a rundown of all the things that AI is becoming. And honestly, I find some of them amazing because
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, when I'm talking and chat and asking it things, she forgets things or she screws
Yeah.
things up. She gets some of my characters, and that's why it annoys me when people say we write with AI. I don't think it's physically impossible to do that and make a good book.
Right.
And so the fact that AI is doing some of the things it's doing and it can't even get some few facts straight in my book, I'm just
Right.
like, how can we trust this? It's scary.
No, it's only as smart as you are. I mean, when you're using it, you really have to manage it. It has to be managed. Yeah, and
I do. I mean, I have given it a full rundown of each one of my
yeah.
books, but every now and then it'll
Oh,
still
it will
call.
say the wrong thing.
Yeah, let's call some character. I'm like, I literally don't have a character by that name in any of my books. Did
Oh,
you just
mine will
make this
call it a
person
he or a
up?
she when it's like, what? It is like,
And I've told her before, like, I think you need to go take a break and get you a cup of coffee and come back. And she's like,
yeah,
you're right, you're right.
I know.
What question do you wish interviewers would ask you but never do?
Hmm. Let's see. Probably, like for me, what is it like to sit at my desk when you're dyslexic and think, like, have to trust that those words are actually the word you're actually seeing? Because I have a story where I had to write one of the neurosurgeons I work with for many years, and he was like one of my best friends, and he did my surgery. But we worked together very closely for many years, 25 years. And I was in charge of sending out a flyer to his, not just online, but physically in the mail, like an invitation.
Right.
And I misspelled the word gentle.
I know where this is going.
And I spelled, he was getting the Gentle Giant Award. And there's a certain type of pituitary tumor that causes growth hormone, so giantism. So I wrote Genital Giant Award.
I know he loved you.
And it went out to over 900 people by
Oh
mail
my
and
God.
thousands of people on the internet.
That's
And people were
hilarious.
writing him before he knew it and said, "Oh, I hope you get a standing ovation." And he was like, "Oh, thank you." He didn't know because I hadn't told him yet. And then, like, one of his colleagues goes, "Sharmyn, where would you get the plaque for that?" And so I didn't know it had happened until one of my friends goes, "Oh, I'm sure you caught that before it went in the mail." And I'm like, "Caught what?" And I'm reading it. And you know that heat that goes up over you? And
Yes,
I'm like,
yes.
"No, no, 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 no."
No.
And then
Bring
it
them all
became,
back.
oh my God, the hospital, they were like freaking out. And I go, "Calm down, everybody. It's done. Now we got to make the best of
It's
it."
a
And
mistake.
Dan was laughing, going, and his brother is a big Hollywood movie writer. And so he had a ball with
I
it because
bet.
it's his younger brother. And his brother's like, "I always thought I'd be the one in the family getting that award." And I mean, the event turned out to be hilarious
I
and really
bet.
good. But I'll tell you, when you make mistakes like that, you never trust yourself.
Yeah.
Trust me.
It's always that
So
little
when I don't think anybody realizes the stress a writer is under,
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you want it to be fun.
We've all made catastrophic mistakes like
Shopping
that.
mistakes.
And sometimes we catch them and sometimes we don't. The other week, I think I told you and Amy this, right before I went on the Tuesday Live, I was trying to hurry up and get the last defense uploaded right before. It's like going to be the last upload before the launch. So it's
I
like,
think I bought that today. Before
is
I did, I bought that today.
oh, thank you. I uploaded the manuscript for the last rescue into the last defense,
Oh,
thing.
yes.
And
Oh my gosh.
I tell you that it was just the grace of God that I noticed
That
it
you
because
caught
you know
it.
how the title is there. I was going back
Yes.
through it just how you do, just scan one more time, just go back through.
Yes.
But you kind of like you're scanning it, but you're not really reading it. I've never,
Right.
ever, ever, ever in all the other books I've done, 11 other books I've published, ever looked to make sure I uploaded the right book. I mean, you just
No,
assumed
but
that you did. It caught my eye, the last rescue, and I was like, wait a minute. And so I looked
wait a
back at the
minute.
top to see, am I working? I thought I was working on the last defense. And I was this close to publishing the wrong
The wrong
manuscript
book
under the
under the
wrong
wrong
book.
name.
So,
Oh
but
my gosh.
thank goodness, thank God that one
Thank you,
got caught
Lord.
before it went out because it was the last. You know how you have up until I think it's 2 weeks or whatever
Yeah.
before that you can. That was the last upload.
Oh
It would have been
God.
out there. I know.
That would have been, oh, you would have just
And I
kicked
had like
yourself.
15 pre-orders, so all those pre-orders would have gotten the wrong book.
Ah,
Last two questions. These are the two questions that I ask everybody at the end of their interviews. What's something small that brings you disproportionate joy?
Oh gosh. Um, I love flowers. I love drawing. I love painting. I think those things are
Do
things
you
I
paint or
couldn't.
you just like other
I
people paint?
paint.
Oh, I
I
didn't know.
draw. I paint. I
I
love
didn't know.
creating. I love doing anything like that. Like I could just, the joy is just, it just feels
That's wonderful.
so good. Yeah. I think that is probably
That is good. Now, last question. What is your favorite word?
believe. I love that word,
I love
believe.
that.
We have to believe. We
You were the
just have
first
to.
author I've asked that question to that it wasn't a cuss word.
Oh,
Most
well,
people
I
say
like those
the F
too,
word,
but not
but not
not
your
my
favorite word.
first.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I love that. And my favorite word is joy because if you can focus on the joy in the little things, especially in life, that's why I wrote those two questions. If you can just find the small joys,
Yeah.
in spring flower that sprung up overnight, or a
Yeah.
red bird that lands in your bird feeder or whatever. Your life, if you can be grateful for the joy you can find daily, you're not going to be. I mean, I'm not going to say you'll never be depressed or never have a bad day,
No, but
but
that's
there'll be
get you
so
through
much.
it.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
make life worth it. It'll make life worth it.
When I was a patient advocate, I always used to tell the patients, that you've got to believe in yourself, first of all. And this isn't happening to you, this is just happening in your life.
Right.
It's, and there's just a way you gotta, your brain listens to everything you say,
Yeah.
and you have to stay focused on what you can control, and that you can control your attitude, you know.
And that
So
goes to what I was saying earlier, trash in, trash out, because
crash out.
I
Yeah.
found people, and I was one of them for most of my life, so depressed just all the time. And I realized through counseling and reading that I was talking to myself badly.
Self
That's
negative.
stupid.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. And also just life was so hard, life is so this, life is so that, and it is all those things, but if you focus on that, it's going to
That's
make
what you're
it
going to get
harder
more
to
of.
deal with. So if you
Yeah.
say, yeah, life's hard, but you know what, God's given me the grace, he's given me the strength, he's given me the courage, and I've
Yeah.
got this, I've got this, I've got it.
You've
So
got this.
it
Right.
can change your whole attitude.
It's what you have to do. You
Yes,
have to
thank
do
you
it.
so much. Show your books again. Oh,
All
I did want
right.
to talk about your other books real quick. I know I've
Real.
never had a thing that was this late. Dying to
uh,
Date and Dying to Marry. Dying to
and
Marry came
dying
out
to.
July the 1st. Go ahead and
There we
pre-order
go.
that on the Zon or everywhere it's
Everywhere.
published.
Yeah. All
So just get
booksellers.
it everywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
But
uh, Go
I'll
ahead.
tell you real quick about any writers that
Yeah,
need a
that's where I was going
workbook.
with that.
I have writers. I designed a workbook for writers to keep. It's kind of like a story Bible. So as you're writing, you put it in. It's not a plotter. It's for you to keep track of your novels while you're writing. So you'll remember how you spelled something, their eyes, everything about the cat. There's chapter details. There's character details, and there's one for regular, just all genres: romance, cozy mystery, and
Sci-fi one.
and
Is it a
fantasy.
sci-fi one?
Yeah, fantasy. Yeah.
Fantasy.
So, yeah. So, and they're real helpful,
Yeah, and
and those are on the Zon.
if you're with us and you're still here and you're a writer, trust me, at least order one of these books just to check it out, because she sent me one to look at and it blew my mind. Like I literally, because I knew she was dyslexic, I thought, how in the hell did she write this? Because it's so detailed and it's so concise, and she thinks of literally every decision you're pretty much going to have to make before you write the book, and you can just jot it down in there and
Jot
keep
it
up to date
down.
with it.
Yeah.
Really a phenomenally thought out, well written, well thought out.
Thank
She's got
you.
some humorous little things in there, some
Yeah.
cute little, not cartoons, but little
Little quotes and stuff to
little
keep you
quotes and
motivated, little
things in there.
stuff.
So it's
Yeah.
fun. I mean, it's not just a boring like a textbook. It's
Yeah,
really a
no.
fun, interesting, adorable little book, and it would be so helpful to you. So you can get
Thank
those.
you.
She's published those wide as well. So make sure you grab whatever genre you write in, and
Yeah.
grab that. And let's support Sharmyn. Thank you so much,
Thank
Sharmyn,
you.
for joining me
Thank
tonight.
you, honey. I love you. And
Love
we'll
you
see
too.
you
Go
this
get some
week, I'm
dinner, 'cause I know
sure.
you had to come straight home from work and jump on here, and I've kept you
That,
way later than I've ever
oh,
kept
it's been a
anybody.
ball.
It has
I
been a ball.
appreciate
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank
All
you,
right,
honey.
thank y'all for joining us
Thank
down in
you.
the basement. And don't sign off.
Oh,
Almost
yeah, I
time.
forgot. You got to touch me
All right,
off.
thank y'all.
Bye.
Oh, one more thing, real quick. Next week, the Indie Author Access interview will be on the Indie Author Access channel, or whatever you want to call it. This is the last one. We went out with a bang. We blew the lids off. It lasted 2 hours. I've never done that on any of them. Next week we'll be back to 1 hour probably, and and on the Indie Author Access. So if you're not already following me, follow me on the Indie Author Access channel, and then you'll be cued in next week. And all the promos for everything will be on that channel from now on. So
Perfect.
Thank you so much. All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, honey.
Good night. Well, I'm trying to do it. My